Most people would tell you not to ever question the advice that you get from a billionaire. But in today's episode, we're going to share a personal story of advice that we got from a billionaire and we did not listen to it. In this episode, we're going to give you permission. Yes, we're giving you permission for you to start thinking for yourself. We're going to share several personal stories and help you understand why it's important to analyze all of the advice that you're giving. And the reason why we came about with this topic is you got to analyze all of the advice that you're giving. And luckily, we've had enough experience. We've been exposed to enough things in our life where we knew that wasn't what we shouldn't do. And this is the primary purpose of this episode. And be sure to watch until the end because we're going to force you to challenge one of your biggest beliefs. Let's tap into the episode. Welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show. I'm the man with the plan, Jeremy Mathis. I'm Joshua. I'm going to give you the game, Mathis, and welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show where we expose you to the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, the people, and the experiences that have gotten us from zero to millions. Advice. Advice is everywhere you look. You open up your phone, you scrolling, you getting advice on the gram. You talk to one of your friends, they want to give you advice. Everywhere we look in turns, people that's giving out free advice. But the problem with it is if everybody has advice, what is the real value of it? In today's episode, we want to help you learn how to analyze the advice that you receive. Because all advice is not good advice. And today we're going to share multiple personal stories with you guys of advice that we've received and we realized it wasn't good. And we're also going to share advice that we received and we analyzed and we realized we need to do something with that. We need to do that. After listening to today's episode, you will know how to analyze all of the advice that you receive in your life. Let's get exposed. Let's get it. Let's get it. So guys, as always, man, just please do us a favor. We want your help in order to, we need your help because we want to grow the show. So if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on any of the podcast players, hit that follow button and please leave us a 5-star review and expose the show to other people as well. Yes, today we're finna get real into it because in this topic is a great topic because like I said, advice is everywhere. You open up your phone and you're looking on social media and you get constant advice and you're asking yourself, what do I do? What do I do this? Do I do what they tell me to do? Do I not do what they tell me to do? And I'm excited to see, to show people how we have created somewhat of a system, a filter, if you will, of how we analyze advice. And what I'm more excited about is giving people permission to be able to understand that they don't have to use all of the advice that they're given. So I like that, like you said, give people permission. But for us, this is one of the most valuable lessons I think that we've learned so far in life, and understanding that just because somebody is older than you, just because someone loves you, just because someone is in a position that you want to be in doesn't mean that the advice that they give you is the advice that you should take. And for us, we've seen that time and time again, not only in our own life, but in the lives of other people that we know and other people that we care about. Yeah, so one of the things that you said, and I want to make sure you guys understand what we're doing today. We're going to share examples of advice that we received. We analyzed it and we realized we don't need to do what we were told by that person. We don't need to take that advice. And then we're going to also give you advice that we received. We did not analyze it. We used it and the not so good outcomes that came out of it and why we started to realize that we needed to analyze all the advice that we received. One of the things that Josh said was sometimes we get advice from people that are older than us. We get advice from people that are where we want to be in life, and we feel obligated. We feel like we gotta listen to them. We feel like that advice is the correct thing to do. And in our first example of getting advice from someone, analyzing it, and realizing it was not for us was something that happened a couple weeks back. So if you've been following the last couple of episodes, you know that we are on an upward trajectory to rebuild our real estate investment firm to $4 million this year in revenue, if not more. And you also know that we've been raising money because we want to purchase a lot more fix and flips in South Florida. So while we were raising money, we was talking to this guy who is for sure a centimillionaire. I'm not quite sure if he's a billionaire yet. This is somebody who we've had several meetings with, somebody who's very influential in the South Florida community, probably in the nation. And we were talking to him, trying to raise money on a Zoom call. And we was telling him about our plans of what we're going to do with the money and how we're going to put it to use, obviously buying more fix and flips. And he was asking us, well, if you raise all this money, like, what are you guys going to do? Like, what does your team look like? We explained what our team looked like at the time and how we're going to start hiring more people. So it's like, we're finna go out and hire more people. We finna grow the team. We about to get a new office. We about to make a lot of investment into the company, et cetera, et cetera. And his advice to us was, hey guys, I've seen this happen before. I see what's happening currently in the economy. I don't think this is the right time for you guys to go out and try to expand. You shouldn't be doing that right now. If I were you guys, I would be coasting along, cherry picking the best deals only, and just coasting right now. Not growing, not decreasing, but just coasting to see what happened because of where we are in the economy. So when he said that, for me personally, it was kind of a blow because it was like, hey man, here I am, I'm energized, I'm ready to go out and tear the world apart with this vision that me and Josh said at the beginning of the year. And to hear that from somebody who was influential, to hear that from somebody that I personally look up to, is like, dang. But then I realized, and the reason why we came about with this topic is you gotta analyze all of the advice that you're giving. So what me and Josh decided to do was, like, we sat down and said, dang, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. He's very successful. Do we listen to this? We started to break apart. We started to analyze and realize this guy, he's older. He's probably in his 60s right now. Probably in his 70s. He has a ton of money. Like I said, he's a centimillionaire, probably a billionaire. And he's at a different point in his life. After we start realizing that this guy is risk averse, he's at a different point in his life, and he doesn't need to put in the work that we need to put in right now, we started to realize this advice wasn't for us. He gave us that advice based off where he is in his life. And he gave that obviously with love and care and with support in mind for Josh and I, thinking it was the best thing for us. But after we realized, we said it's not the best thing for us because we need to grow. We're not where he is, and we're trying to get there. And it's a perfect opportunity for us to do so.
Facts. And one, Jerm made a lot of great points, and I hope you guys take in those points. Number one is when we analyzed that advice, we understood that he's at a different point of his life. He's two, maybe almost three, at least 2.5 times our age, right? He's where we're trying to get to in certain times in your life. Right now we're in wealth creation phase. So when you're creating wealth, your activities look different. The things that you do look different. You're more riskier when you're in that wealth creation stage. He's at a point of his life where he's trying to preserve his wealth. And when you're preserving your wealth, at that point you can lay down and coast. You're okay making 5-6% return, because if you got 100 million, you're making 5-6% a year on that. That's good money. You get what I'm saying? So we understood that. So we're at different points in our life.
Yes. So just sitting there and talking with him, it was something that was like, dang, man, is this what we should do? And luckily we've had enough experience. We've been exposed to enough things in our life where we knew that wasn't what we shouldn't do. And this is the primary purpose of this episode, guys.
So, and then too, when I took that episode, because I always take it with a grain of salt, and I always look at, okay, what's the lesson that we can learn here? And for me, Jeremy and I, we're still going to go forward with our plan, but we're going to go about it we're going to be more lean about it. When he was saying don't hire, for us, we're at a point now where at first we probably was just going to go on a hiring spree, but now we're going to be lean in our hiring and ensuring that we're bringing in A players so that we can get the things done that we need to get done.
Yeah. So not only bringing in those A players, on the point of bringing in those A players, right now is the perfect time to bring in A players because, as you see, companies are starting to lay off people. A couple layoffs are starting to happen, and for us, I believe that's a perfect opportunity for us to go and find some of these people that just got laid off because of what's happening in the economy. Also, I think if you're a true entrepreneur, if you're a go-getter, if you're resourceful, all the things that I described are me and Josh, in my opinion, in any market, regardless if it's up market, down market, you're going to find opportunities. You're going to create opportunities. So for us, we realized, like, man, regardless of what's happening, we in real estate, there will be opportunities. It's just on us to go out and to capitalize and make things happen during this time. So what's one piece of advice that you receive or that you feel like we received, we analyzed it and realized this is not something that we need to do?
It was when we decided to go nationwide. So as we mentioned to you guys, our core business is real estate investing. And when we first got started investing into real estate now 8 years ago, we were only doing deals in our local market, which is South Florida. So Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, shout out to the crib. You know, we was only doing deals here. And that, while we were here, it was just tough for us to scale and it was tough for us to grow. It's super, super competitive here in South Florida. And for German now, we're conservative when we're doing our deals. Like we use private money, so we don't want to put our investors' money at risk. So for us, we said, hey, we want to grow this business. We want to do more deals. And we had a friend at the time, he was doing deals nationwide. So long story short, we didn't go nationwide up front. We just said, hey, let's go to another market. So we went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and Gastonia and those surrounding markets, and we started to get deals done. We started to do a bunch of wholesales there, and we just saw the opportunity, and that was the moment of exposure that we needed to see, like, yo, we can do this and we can go nationwide. Most real estate investors and most of the gurus or the people, the quote unquote the big dogs in real estate tell you, hey, you want to go deep in your market, you don't want to go wide. And if we would have took that advice, I don't know where we would be in our business today, because we went wide, and that has been a huge shift for us and for the business, and it's been great.
Yes, a lot of key things that were said in there, and one of the things that Josh mentioned was when we went to North Carolina. Number one, it was a great moment of exposure for us. But the biggest thing that it did for us, and I'm happy we didn't take the advice of other people telling us to go deep in the market. And just to give you context, when they say go deep, meaning figure out how you could do more deals in your local market, because you know the market, you're expert at it, you should be able to figure things out. For us, we went wide. Going wide meaning going to other markets. When we went to North Carolina and we started doing deals there and we got exposed, excuse me, when we got exposed to doing deals there, we started to realize a big hurdle in our business that we didn't know, but we got exposure to it when we went to North Carolina, was our cost per lead started to decrease. We were spending almost $500 in South Florida just to generate an opportunity for our sales guys to close. We go to North Carolina and $500 turns into $375. We're spending the same amount of money in marketing, but we're getting more at bats. We're getting more opportunities. So from after doing that, we started to realize if we can go in more markets, we can decrease our cost per lead, and not only do we give our team more opportunities, we set the team up for success. Now you ask yourself, how do you set the team up for success? If something happens in the South Florida market, and we know how to go nationwide, we know how to do deals anywhere. If something bad happens in South Florida, we can pick up shop and go somewhere else and continue to operate our business so that our team and our sales can feed our families.
So you all right over there?
It's like I'm the only one talking and giving game today.
Hey, boy, struggling right now. But yeah, so us going nationwide was a major shift for our business. And again, when we first got started, it was just some trials and tribulations, but that's anything new in life that you try. But we quickly was able to do the things that we need to do, make the contacts and the resources we need in these other markets. And I mean, you really think about it, our business tripled within 90 days. Guys, we tripled our business within 90 days by going nationwide. And the point of this episode is, if we would have took the advice of these other influential people in real estate and went deeper in the market, I don't know if we would have had that success as quick as we had it.
It's not only taking that advice, but from other gurus and people that we looked up to in the business, but we also had a mentor, big time developer. This guy develops in a certain part of the country where it's very difficult to do so. And when we told him we was going nationwide and going to other markets, he said, "Gosh, don't do that. You're making a bad mistake." And this is somebody else that we looked up to, we emulated. This guy constantly inspires us by all the projects that he does. He told us not to do it. And if we listened to him and all the other advice, we wouldn't have tripled the business. We wouldn't have given our team more at-bats. And we would not have realized the biggest benefit to doing so, which is, again, we're able to be agile and we're able to pivot quickly. If God forbid, if something happens in one of these markets, we know other people, very close friends, when interest rates started to go up, they was only in one market and their market started to get clobbered, get hammered because of it. They had flips sitting on the market. They couldn't sell flips. The wholesale stopped and their business stopped. For us, if that happened to us in South Florida, we could just say, you know what, look at the data, and the data will tell us where we need to pick up and go and start doing deals. So this has been very, very instrumental for us. As far as one of the things that I said earlier that I want to make sure that people understood was giving people permission to analyze advice. A lot of times in life, and you guys have heard us say this on other episodes, a lot of times in life, sometimes you need people to tell you it's okay. And not saying people tell you what to do, but when you hear people talk about things, it gives you that permission to say, you know what, I don't got to listen to all the advice that I've been given. I'm just hoping with these two examples, you guys have already picked up on, you know what, all the advice I'm going to receive moving forward, I'm going to analyze it. I'm going to see if that's what I want to do, if that's the direction that I want to go in. Yes, I'm going to take heed and I'm going to listen, and I'm not just going to do everything that I want to do, but I'm going to make the best decision that I believe is the best thing for me to do, which leads me to another example of advice we received. We analyzed and realized it wasn't for us. A mentor that we've had for the last 15 years, highly respectable person in the South Florida community, somebody who's helped us make so many key pivotal decisions in our business and in our life. And he saw us doing social media and how we was doing social media, meaning putting out content, sharing things, and he asked us questions, and he started to believe that social media was a waste of time. He wasn't doing it himself, and he didn't see the value in doing social media. And he kept telling us, guys, you're wasting your time. Stop doing this. Don't keep doing it. Go focus on your business. I'm telling you, you guys are wasting your time. And that was advice, again, that we received. We analyzed and realized that's not for us. He doesn't understand the full scope of our vision. Even though we tried to communicate that to him, he still didn't understand the full scope of the vision that we had and why we were doing social media. He didn't understand how influential and how powerful social media was. And again, this is somebody who helped us make key pivotal decisions. And we didn't take his advice, and I'm happy we didn't. So again, guys, you have the permission that you need to go out and analyze the advice that you're given.
Yeah. And one thing that you said regarding that, the story you just told, is social media has helped us make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, just from the relationships that we've got from social media. Because we're going to make money from those relationships, the deal flow that we get from social media, the opportunities to speak on stages, or from social media. It's so many benefits to social media. And when we first started, it was just giving free content and wanting to inspire people, because that's just who we are as individuals. But when you start seeing all of the parallels of success from social media, it was a game changer for us, and we understand the value of it. But then also, he's an older guy. He didn't grow up in, our era, so to speak. So we understand. So guys, for all of you guys, eyeballs is the new currency. Attention is the new currency. Right? If you can get attention, you can create so many opportunities for yourself. And for us, we understand that. So the more attention we get, the more opportunities we can bring to ourselves, whether it's deal flow, whether it's investors lending us money to do these deals, whether it's brands saying, hey, I want you guys to host my brand on your podcast. There are so many opportunities that we can create from social media.
So you said he was an older guy. He didn't grow up in the social media time or era. And one of the things we're telling people to analyze, but I don't think we've given them proper steps on how to analyze. So in your opinion and your belief, when people are giving advice, what are some key things that they need to look at, and how do they need to analyze the advice that they're giving?
Yeah. So one thing that I tell people all the time is when somebody's giving you advice, you need to understand, number one, that they're giving you advice based off their own experience. So you need to understand the experience that they had that shaped that piece of advice that they're giving you, because you need to, I'll give a perfect example where on that topic. For me personally, when I was married before, right? If you guys didn't know, I was married before, and I got divorced. And I used to be the guy screaming from the mountaintops, hey, don't get married, because that was just based off my experience. My marriage failed. So because of my bad experience, I was trying to throw my beliefs on other people. Thank God it has since changed, but that's just one example of how my bad experience led to me giving people not so good advice.
So you said one thing that people need to analyze when they're giving the advice is the experience that the person has, and understand their background, understand their traumas, understand their beliefs, and understand how their beliefs have been shaped. Yes. Is there anything else that people need to look at outside of experience when they're analyzing the advice that they receive?
I think it's also what you said earlier, which is where people are in their life. Right? You need to understand where people are in their life, because the man that I am today was not the man I was 10 years ago. The advice I would have given you 10 years ago, depending on what the topic is I'm 1,000% sure it'll be different than the advice that I gave today. So for earlier, remember we were saying that that mentor, he was telling us, hey, don't grow your team, but he's at a different stage of his life. For us, we in hustle mode, we in grind mode, we in wealth creation mode. So yeah, you need team in order to get to that next level.
Got you. So guys, in experience is one key factor. The person experience and their background is one key factor when you are analyzing the advice that you receive. The other thing is where they are currently in their life. What stage are they in? Are they in wealth creation? Are they in coast mode? Are they in traumatic life altering mode? There's so many things that happens in people's life when they give you the advice. So just make sure you understand those two key points. Is there any other piece of advice that you received, you analyzed it and realized it wasn't the right thing for you at that time in your life?
Nothing that I can think of for me personally, but one that I can think of is when you was working at in the dean's office, and what the dean told the dean. If you want to share the story, because that was like really your personal experience, but that's something that came to mind.
As far as what?
When the dean told us to get a credit card so we could start building our credit in college.
I got you. Yeah, I got you. So I worked in the dean's office and in college, and so many influential people came through the office. The dean was a great person, very successful guy. He wasn't 100% academia. He actually did something in business. This is somebody I looked up to. So he was asking me, like, what do you want to do in life? I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start businesses. He said, man, what is your credit like? And I was 19, 20 at the time. Man, my credit, I think is good. Man, you got to understand credit. You got to know how it works. You got to have good credit. You need to go out and get a credit card so you can start building your credit. So I go home. I'm excited. Mom, the dean said, go get a credit card. And my mom went off instantly. Oh, no, you don't need a credit card. Credit is bad. Credit cards are bad. You need to buy anything. You need to buy everything with cash, et cetera, et cetera. So after that, having that conversation, I'm perplexed. I'm sick to my stomach because my mom, my angel, the person who I believe did a great job in raising me and always guiding me, is telling me one thing. But then the dean, somebody I emulate, somebody that I inspired to be like, somebody who had the successes in life that I wanted, or at least I thought I wanted at that time, he was telling me another. So I'm at this point, I'm at a crossroads, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know what to do. But then I started to analyze, and I started to realize my mom's experience, and I started to realize his experience. My mom experienced with credit cards, she didn't have good financial management when she had a credit card, and she probably screwed up her credit because of it. Whereas the dean probably came from a background where he had some experience. His parents probably taught him how to deal with credit and how to manage it and how to build credit. After realizing and analyzing, I said, you know what, I need to go get a credit card. I walked in a couple days later, Bank of America, and got my first credit card. And ding dong, Joshua, and it followed me as well. And I'm happy we did that, because if we didn't start building our credit then, I don't know where we would be now. All of our real estate deals, not all of them, a good majority of our real estate deals, after we refinance or we go get long-term debt, they are looking at our credit score to determine the interest rate, to determine the type of terms and the loan that we're going to get, all because of credit. And if I look back, way back when I was 19, I'm 32 now, if I would have took that advice that my mom gave me, would we own as many assets as we own now if we would not have focused on our credit back then?
Fact. So, one, man, shout out to my mom, our mom. She's an amazing person. And my mom did the best what she could. I mean, she did the best with what she could at the time. And she understood that, or what in her situation gave her a bad experience with credit, right? It was tough for us growing up. So, that's probably why she had some bad experiences with credit. And then two, she wasn't exposed to credit the way that we was, right? Sometimes everyone in their life, exposure goes both ways. And we talked about this the other day, where you can be exposed to good things and you can be exposed to bad things. And for her, she's had several bad exposures to credit. So because she's had bad experiences with credit, that has shaped her experience on her thought process on credit. But the dean, on the other hand, he's had great experiences with credit, and he understands the value and he understands the things that you can do with credit. So I just wanted to, I guess, share that and help people understand, one, that exposure goes both ways, and then two, like, understand that people go through different stages in their life or phases.
Yeah, so guys, we've given you multiple examples of advice that we received. We analyzed it and realized it wasn't for us. And now all of that came from what we're about to go into now, which is advice we received. We did not analyze it, and things didn't work out it worked out for our best because everything happens for a reason. But after taking that advice, it didn't go as well as we would have wanted to, taking somebody's advice. So the first example that I have is the right mentor, but at the wrong time. So we had this mentor, very successful person, somebody who we looked up to, and we still look up to this person today. And this person, we took advice from them. And when we first met them, we wanted to grow and scale our business, but they had given us advice that we should, hey, your business is at a good point. You guys should start to diversify and start putting your eggs in multiple baskets as opposed to having this one big basket. And that's exactly what we did. So we took our eye off of a business that didn't have the proper foundation, and we started to look multiple ways. We started investing in this. We started doing this thing. We started doing everything else as opposed to focusing. And we did not analyze the advice. We didn't understand what we understand now and what we've shared with you the past 25 minutes of analyzing advice and realizing it, whether it was or was not for you. If we would have analyzed this advice, we would have focused on building a better business, and we would have had a lot more money in our pocket, because almost all of those investments went to zero and we lost all that cash. And we're not saying it's his fault. We're not saying that at all. We're big boys. We made that decision. But the whole point is we should not have diversified at that time in our life because we was not ready for it. If we would have analyzed the advice that we were given, we would have understood that this guy was much older than us. He had way more success than us. He's built and sold multiple different companies, and he was at a different point in his career. He was giving us advice based off what he was in his career, not off what we were at that time in our career. We were still growing and building our company. Like I said, it didn't have the proper foundation. So when you start looking at other places and you're building something and you don't have the proper foundation, it eventually crumbles. And that's exactly what happened. When we diversified, we lost money and our organization crumbled because of listening to that advice. So guys, again, you have permission not to listen to all of the advice that you're given.
No, that was good. That was good. And then two, I mean, well, one thing that you said was, again, this is a guy that we looked up to, and a guy like, hey, and we still do. Yes, thank you. We still do definitely look up to him, but understanding that life, most people try to get to the destination and they don't enjoy the process. And we've learned and understood that you have to enjoy the process. I hate we had to learn that lesson that way, but we had to learn that lesson to help us grow to get to who we are today. And we're able to share these lessons with you guys, right? That was a struggle that we've had because we took our eye off the ball, and like Jerm just mentioned, the business started to crumble because we started looking left and right. So I understand, like, what I took from just that whole experience or those few years of where we was, taking money out of our cash flowing business and investing into these other opportunities as, hey, that was a valuable lesson that we've learned, and we now know the importance of focus, right? So I'm thankful for that experience. I'm thankful for that. That's a part of our journey, and now we can share that with you guys. So the point I want to make there is understand that things happen to you, and things happen for you, not to you. And that was something that happened for us.
So guys, the point of this episode is to help to make sure that you guys understand that it's okay to analyze all the advice you're given. Again, you need to look at where that person is in their life, and you need to understand their experience and how they came to that belief. And you need to think about, is that what you really want to do in your life? It's okay to say no to advice you're giving, advice that you're given from other people. I think we did a great job today in helping you guys understand the importance of analyzing your own life and making your own decisions based on what you think is the right thing to do. Any parting words?
I got a question for you. What's the best piece of advice you can leave the audience with?
The best piece of advice that I can leave the audience. You said it, and I say this all the time. I'm so thankful for our journey because I constantly look at myself and I reflect on who Jerm was a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. And I'm falling in love with the process more than I am the destination. I know the destination gonna get there. I don't know when we gonna get there. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But I know I'm gonna put the work in and I'm gonna develop myself and become the person that I need to become so that I can get to where I want to get to. So the best piece of advice that I can leave you is enjoy the journey. Yeah. See the good in the journey and everything that you're going through, because you're being molded and shaped into who you need to become so that you can get the things that you deserve to get when you are ready for those things.
Bah, 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 bah.
I dropped it today. I came today.
But that just, people got to understand, like, that's one of the things Jerm and I talk about all the time, is understanding and, like, enjoying the journey, going from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4, not from step 1 to 10, because the things that you go through between steps 2 and 9 is going to help you develop it to become to the person, so that when you get to 10, you can maintain what it is that's at 10. Because sometimes if you skip the process, when you get to step 10 before you're prepared mentally, you'll lose that. Yeah. So that's so important.
So you got any advice you want to leave with the audience?
You know what? One piece of advice that I would leave with you guys is the importance of living in perspective. And there's 2 types of people in this world: the people that live in perception and the people that live in perspective. And guys, this is not for me. I heard this on a podcast a while back, and I said, you know what? It was something that I was feeling. I just didn't know how to articulate it. And when I heard it on the podcast, it helps me articulate it. And in the Navy SEALs, they train people to live in perspective. Because when you live in perspective, you can live and view things the way that other people do. When you live in perception, which is your own identity, what you believe is right, you're not able to listen to people to understand. You're listening just to reply, and that's not effective for you or for that other person. So, and when you live in perspective, that helps you in every area of your life, whether it's business, a parent, a spouse, community leader, activist, in the church. It helps you in every area of your life. So learn to live in perspective and not perception.
Enjoy the process, guys, and don't be in a rush to get to the destination. Live in perspective and not perception. Guys, we did a great job today. If y'all, I'm gonna pat us on the back today. This is a great job, guys. We put a lot of time and energy and effort into producing these shows, to coming up with the topics, coming up with the ideas. Just do us a favor, expose somebody, share this episode and all other episodes that have touched you, and share it with people so that they can get exposure and so that they can expand in their life. We call this the gentleman agreement because we can't see you do it. We just know that you will, because you've got so much value. So as you know, in our gentleman's agreement, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. If you are listening on a podcast player like Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button, leave us a 5-star review, because it helps the show continue to grow. Expose and expand. Peace.
Expose and expand. Peace.